This question is the homework, okay? ये वाला क्वेश्चन आप होमवर्क में करेंगे. अच्छा, now after this 1 hour session, how many people think we were doing maths? ये किसका सेशन था? Obviously series and progressions and everything, but do you really think we were studying maths? How many people say that? So many people in the class. Answer in the chat. Acha, everyone is thinking it's a math session going on. Acha, after 1 hour of the session, you say maths. See, what is the difference between maths and what we are doing? See, when I talk about maths, let's say math skills, what are the words comes to my mind? क्या words आते हैं? क्या आएंगे words? See, what are the words which will come? Steps you will have to write. सारे schools में and times में many of the marks will be cut just because you are not writing all the steps. Process ये लिखिए and you will not get the full marks. Calculations. Any other word you can think about? Let's say addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So these are the words which will come to us when we say maths. But are we doing maths? In all the questions which we have done, maybe I think 24 or 25 questions we have done, we actually always used some other words. What are that words? See, this is the difference between maths and QA, or you may call it QR, and CUT call it GT. Okay. In CUT it is called journal test. In GMAT it is called quantitative reasoning. And in maths, in CAT it is called quantitative aptitude. Why they are not calling it maths? Maths bhi to bol sakte hain, but they are not calling it that. So what is the difference between a maths and an aptitude for maths? See, aptitude, what is an aptitude? Aptitude is a word. If I go for the dictionary meaning, I don't recall the dictionary meaning, but if I say with the common man, the layman language as we call it, when I will talk about, let's say, aptitude, it means a natural or an acquired skills, or your maybe liking for it. So if I will say my son or my kid has an aptitude for creative arts, let's say he has an aptitude. अब मैं हिंदी में इसे बोलता हूँ तो हम बोलेंगे कि मेरा बच्चा पेंटिंग या क्रिएटिव स्किल्स में बहुत अच्छा है या उसका एप्टीट्यूड है. तो what is the word aptitude means? The aptitude means acquired skills or maybe natural skills. Okay, so why in the IQ test, let's say we are talking about CUT, we are talking about GMAT, we are talking about CAT. Why we shouldn't be calling it a math test, or in a way we can call it an English test? Most of the people when we are teaching are thinking that this is a maths class. Today was not a maths class. I was using maths as a language to do an IQ test. I'll give an example to you what exactly I was doing today. When I talk about QA, which in CAT we call it as quantitative aptitude, or in GMAT I will call it quantitative reasoning, or in CUT we will call it let's say journal test. What exactly we are doing? The examiner is actually testing your IQ. And why they're using maths or in English as a thing? Because it's a language. अब आपका क्वेश्चन मुझे होना चाहिए, which I think कोई पूछ नहीं रहा, लेकिन I will just answer it. Logical question होना चाहिए कि why maths and English is only checked in the IQ test. Most of the IQ test will be checking your maths and English. Maths as a part is the most universal language, and English is the second most universal language. In the times, let's say if there is a biology student, I'll use the word Homo sapiens or Homo erectus. The point is, for the layman people, when the human beings, like the social, if you look at the journey, even if you will not know any language to speak. Let's say if you're even conversing with the sign language, or you may not have any vocal codes or any way to communicate with each other, then also you are using maths in many things. You will, in a sign language, you will say this thing, you will say. So maths is the most universal language, and that's why it's checked. So maths, please understand, maths is not being checked. What is we are checking is maths as a language to test your IQ. What kind of a level are we testing in the IQ test? We are testing the most basic, let's say 8, 9, 10, maybe 7, 6. That standard we are looking at. That is even till 10th standard, the whole syllabus of all the IQ test is over. And till 10th, everyone has maths. As a teacher, every day we will be hearing, sir हम तो मैथ्स बैकग्राउंड के नहीं है, तो हम कैट कैसे करेंगे? इंजीनियर सारे मैथ्स में बहुत अच्छे होते हैं, दैट्स व्हाई दे विल से दे विल कैरी इट. एक्चुअली इन आईक्यू टेस्ट आई ऑलवेज आंसर इट वेरी सिंपली एंड से बहुत अच्छा है अगर आपने मैथ्स नहीं लिया हो, क्योंकि मैथ्स तो चेक होता भी नहीं है ना, इंग्लिश चेक होता है. So what exactly the point I'm making is, in any IQ test, you are not checked for English and you are not even checked for maths. So these two things, that is maths and English, is used as a language to test your IQ. So that's why they're calling it, in CAT, they are calling it quantitative aptitude. Very good. And I know after 1 hour session, I think most of the people are not very active right now, but listen to the point what I'm making, because this perspective will change your total preparation. If you know in a test what exactly is expected from you, तो आप वैसे ही तैयारी करेंगे. Let's say अगर मुझे ये समझो कि इस क्वेश्चन में मेरी कैलकुलेशन चेक हो रहा है, तो I will use every step. Like in board exams, I used to recall, many of the times I used to skip steps, and many of the students do that. And even my 12-year-old son many of the time do that. और उससे मैं पूछता हूँ कि स्टेप्स क्यों नहीं लिखे, तो my son says that वो इसलिए नहीं लिखे हैं क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि इतना तो टीचर समझ लेगा, इतने ये तो स्टेप उसे समझ होगा कि what exactly are the steps in, if I'm reaching that answer, so what would be the steps in between. So what exactly I'm saying is, if I know in a test what is expected from you, I will prepare in the same way, and I will even attempt the test in the same way. So the perspective is very important. If you don't have that perspective, what will happen? आप क्लासेस में बहुत बार सुनेंगे, और ये कैट, GMAT, CUET के स्टूडेंट से बहुत बार सुनेंगे आप, सर हम तो एग्जाम को कंप्लीट ही नहीं कर पाते, वी आर नॉट इवन एबल टू अटेम्प्ट द होल क्वेश्चन सर, many of the questions we are not able to attempt. Why you are not able to attempt is because you looking at a question and you're trying to solve it in a mathematical way, or we call it a traditional way. जबकि आपसे एक्सपेक्टेड क्या था कि you will use an quantitative aptitude or a quantitative reasoning skills. अब मेरा पॉइंट क्या है, what is quantitative aptitude or a quantitative reasoning in GMAT, quantitative aptitude in CAT and CUET, GTs. कुछ वर्ड्स ध्यान रखना जब भी आप, ये एक लॉजिकल क्वेश्चन है, तो वन ऑफ द वर्ड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वुड बी द लॉजिक. सेकंड वुड बी रीजनिंग. क्या होता है रीजनिंग? कॉमन इंग्लिश वर्ड है, मतलब टू फाइंड ए रीजन. इन रीजनिंग बेसिकली मीन्स, or a third word, very important word, you will understand from this word even. Rationality. And one of the very important word would be common sense. So what is the point? What I'm trying to say here is, in IQ test, we are not looking at these words, that is math skills, the steps, process, addition, subtraction, how good is in the calculation, how much he remembers the formulas and everything. But these are the 4 words which they will be talking about, maybe the logic, reasoning, rationality, and the common sense. So if this whole 1 hour session of series was not in, I was not teaching maths. I was looking at every question, and what I was trying to understand or comprehend, or I was trying to push was, I was trying to think in a way that there is some way, there is some kind of a logic or rationality which breaks the question in just few seconds. I would be able to do it. Now in a traditional maths, the same question I would need is might be maybe 5 minutes or 3 minutes. But if I use a logic or rationality, I would be able to do the question in what you say in seconds. So if I had to do 25 questions, even 23 questions, let's say in 40 minutes or 50 minutes or 30 minutes, I would be able to do if I'm using the logic as a root of my understanding or thinking. And if I'm using the common traditional maths, I will never be able to do it. The question, I will not be even able to attempt the half of the question. तो आपका ये आप किसी भी CAT center या GMAT center, the CUET center, you just start taking the views of the people. And many the times when I go for the CAT or GMAT or CUET, even if I try to talk to the students who are coming out of the exam, and what you will hear is all the people would be saying, rather most 99.9% of the people would be saying I was not able to attempt the full test. Reason being, आप उसे ट्रेडिशनल वे में ही कर रहे हैं, एंड उसका गलती भी नहीं है, बिकॉज यू आर इवन टॉट इन द सेम वे. यू आर नॉट टॉट दैट every question, if it is an IQ test, there is some expectations from you. वो expectations के लिए it will always have some kind of a very simple logic to it. I'll give very small example to you so that you understand what I'm trying to say. अच्छा, the same logic applies in the English verbal even. मैंने पहले भी आपको ये बात बोला है, and I'm just repeating the same point. Verbal is not an English test. तो आपसे कभी भी they will never check your reading skills. They will never even check your vocab. They don't do that. The basic idea they are checking is the comprehension. I will not use the word comprehension because you will relate it with the reading comprehension. Let's say इस word को मैं change करता हूँ. Comprehending becomes a verb now. So my same चीज, the same thing which I was talking about in the quant, I'm using the same logic in the verbal. So what I'm trying to say is verbal is not an English test. तो language नहीं check होगा, reading, vocab. अब question है कि why this perspective is important. ये perspective important इसलिए है, if you know what is expected from you, you will prepare in the same way, you will be taught in the same way, and looking at every question, you will know that this question may be looking lengthy, maybe have a 10-step calculations attached to it, but I'm not expected to do that. I'm expected to use my IQ, my logic, my rationality, and my common sense to solve a question. I'll give an example, one more very simple example. You will understand. Let's say if you ask any student as a teacher, if you ask me, what is the square root of 0.9, let's say. Now, jitne se puch lo, they will start doing the whole, if I'll ask in this class even, and any class if I've asked, what people start doing is they will start doing traditional maths and they will using the square root, do bar laga ke, they will start doing the question. Is it expected from you? See, the simple logic is, if you look at this question, most of the people will come with the answer 0.33, 0.37, something like that they will come with. But see the simple logic, what this number is close to 1. What is the square root of 1? The square root of 1 is 1 itself. So usually in this 0.9 question, the answer will be 0.9 only. Maybe some digits more attached to it, but it will always be. So if the square root of 0.99 will always have an answer of 0.99 and maybe some digit 327. These digits will be there. So what I'm saying is, a common logic will help you better than solving it in a mathematical or a traditional way. So you expected now. Which is one of the very important thing which I want to talk about. Maybe I have used always whenever in any test you are looking, even IQ test में एक trick जो use होता है, और many that even if I will be framing a question for the IQ test, even I will do the same thing. So what exactly we do is, IQ test will use two kind of things. The question might look very easy and is difficult, or the vice versa. That is, the question might be very difficult to see. When you look at it, it will be very difficult. लेकिन जब आप करेंगे, it will become very much easy for you. Or it's an easy question, I'm saying. The thing which may look difficult and is easy, or vice versa, in which it may look very easy and it may be very difficult. I recall a question I used in one of my class even. That chalo, leave it. I'll not come to that question. It will take a lot of time. Achha, now one of the strategy I want to talk about today is a fog strategy. I call it fog strategy. What is the fog strategy? See, many of the IQ tests, what will they do is they will use a kind of a trick in which the question might look very difficult for you. For example, अभी हम when we doing the series class, we were talking about one of the series. This series even, it will look very, this question might look very difficult to you. But this is not a difficult question, very easy one. What is fog strategy is, let's say आप ड्राइव कर रहे हैं या आप चल रहे हैं और बहुत फॉग है, तो what will happen is what you will assume, let's say if I stand there and I want to go to my home, there is a lot of fog and I'm not able to see even, let's say, 2 meters or 2 feet, 2 meters, let's say, ahead of me, or 2 feet ahead of me. Most of the people lose their heart. But what fog strategy is, let's say, if I'm able to see even 2 meters, let's walk 2 meters. Okay. When I'll reach that 2 meters, I would be able to see 2 meters beyond that even. Okay. So in a way, whenever I would be crossing 2 meters, I would have my path of 2 meter much beyond that, much more clearer to me. और मेरा रास्ता और 2 meter clear होता जा रहा है, and I'll reach my destination. So what I'm trying to say to you is, in many of the IQ tests, use the fog strategy. If you'll start doing that question using your logic and all, you will say that all that kind of a, what we'll say, difficult thing will collapse in front of you. Or I meant to say, this 2 meter of movement towards your home will make you reach your home or destination or answer or a solution. So always think that you're in a fog and keep on moving forward with obviously positive thinking, but even with logic, rationality, common sense. And believe me, that is the only thing which is expected from you. You're not expected to be a big mathematician. You're not even expected to be a big English literature student. A manager, a good MBA guy, or a good entrepreneur is never a person who is expert in a subject. A good entrepreneur or a good manager or a good CEO is a good logic guy, actually. The problems which comes to an entrepreneur or any even manager or a MBA guy is not mathematics, and even it's not English, and even if it is not logical reasoning or data interpretation. What exactly most of the managers actually will struggle with on a daily basis would be more of a logic or a rationality or a common sense to solve problems. So very important for you to look into it. I'll just post some questions to you to prove my point, because you should be asking why. Even I used that in the class, but then also I will use some of the questions. I'll just put very simple question to you. Okay, let's look at a one question. Okay, let's say we have, let's say from 22 to 34, we have to pick 5 odd distinct numbers. Okay, and let's say the product of that is, let's say 9, 5, 6, 3. I'm using any random numbers. Okay, not, you don't have to worry about it. I'm just using random numbers. Okay, I'm just using any other random numbers so that you understand my point, what I'm trying to say. So what you have to do, the question, let's say in CUT, let's say in GMAT or a CAT, is you have to pick odd, distinct, not to repeat, distinct numbers between 22 to 35. So what are the numbers you have, and the product of that is this one of the thing which I'm giving to you. And the question is, you have to find the difference between the greatest and the lowest number of that, the numbers which are used in this multiplication. I'm once more putting the question so that everyone becomes clear. So the range of the question is 22 to 34. You have to pick 5 distinct odd numbers out of it. The product of the 5 distinct odd number is this number, and the question is that product, that 5 odd numbers, you have to find the difference between the greatest and the lowest number in that series, let's say. Now, picking that number, 5 distinct numbers, the one number can be 23, 25. Yes, keep on pitching. आप हाँ बोलते जाइए. Yes, 27, 29, very good. 31, 33. लेकिन ये तो चक्कर हो गया. There's a problem. Now I was expected to pick the five numbers. These are 6 numbers. So one number shouldn't be there. One number shouldn't be there. Which is that number? Think. Yes. Which number is not used in this product? Now, there is one number which is very unique in this series. Why this number is unique? 5 के multiplication जब करेंगे, if we'll multiply any number with the 5, it will always reach only in the unit digit. It will always have, very good, yes, 5 or the 0. Now, so what does it means is this number cannot be there in that product, in that numbers, in the product of that 5 odd numbers. If there is a 25, it cannot be ending with the 7. So obviously these are the numbers. So what is the greatest number? 33. And what is the lowest number? 23. So what is the difference here? 10. Sorry. Are you able to understand? Now let's say, whatever I said before this, what I was saying was that ट्रेडिशनल मैथ्स अगर हम करते हैं, अगर ये बोर्ड का एग्जाम होता या 10th 12th का एग्जाम होता, तो what I would have done is I would have used each and every step, I would have used each and every number, I would have multiplied each and every number, and I would have keep on looking. But obviously, as I said, told you, if this is asked in any IQ test, this is not a math test. So there must be some logic. And what is the logic? Just look at, if my perspective of looking at a question is that there is some kind of a logic which can break this question, I will try to have my mind would be set in the same way. मैं वैसे ही सोचूंगा कि ऐसा कुछ तरीका है जिससे कि ये क्वेश्चन बड़ी जल्दी हो सकता है. तो the first point, I think you are able to understand what I'm trying to say to you. अब एक और क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. Actually, I know it's beyond the class time, but I would like to just show you the point what I'm making. Let's say 3 coordinates हैं. Let's say पहला coordinate है x+2, x+1. Second coordinate है x+3, x+2. Third coordinate है x+4, x+1. And let's say मैं आपसे पूछता हूँ, the question is, what is the area of this thing? Now, traditionally, if I'll do that, you know what is a triangles formula, herons or anything. तो coordinates में डालते रहो, plus minus करते रहो, and एक plus minus उल्टा पुल्टा हो गया, and you have a small mistake in the plus, using your addition and subtraction, and you will end up with nothing. Now let's use the second thing which we call it in CAT is quantitative aptitude. हम aptitude वे में करते हैं, हम इसे common sense वे में करते हैं. अच्छा कैसे करेंगे? Let's say मैं एक लाइन ड्रॉ कर देता हूँ. ऐसा नंबर कुछ करते हैं. We'll use some number for, let's say x. We'll use some kind of a substitution which will make this number easy for me. What are the numbers which are repeated? एक तो ये नंबर रिपीट हुआ, x+2, x+1 भी रिपीट हुआ, x+1 भी रिपीट हुआ. लेट्स यूज x(-1). ओके, आई एम यूजिंग x(-1). तो पहला कोऑर्डिनेट क्या बना मेरा? पहला नंबर्स क्या है मेरे? यस, हाँ जी, चैटिंग करते रहो भाई. सब सो रहे हैं, मेरे सुबह सुबह सो रहे हैं सभी. अच्छा, नाउ आई विल यूज इट. The first coordinate of, if I'm using -1, is 1, 0. Okay. Second coordinate is 2, 1. Third coordinate is 3, 0. प्लॉट करते हैं. 1, 0 कहाँ होगा जी? यहाँ होगा जी. 2, 1 कहाँ होगा जी? समवेयर यहाँ होगा जी. 3, 0 कहाँ होगा जी? यहाँ होगा. अच्छा, ये तो बन गया. अब सिंपल एक फॉर्मूला है, हाफ इंटू बेस इंटू हाइट. हाफ बेस कितना बनेगा? 3 - 1, 2. और ये हाइट कितनी है? ये हाइट है ये, तो बना 1. आंसर इज 1. नाउ कमिंग बैक टू इट, मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव था देयर माइट बी सम काइंड ऑफ अ वे, some kind of a logic which I will use, or rationality. So what I, rather than going into a traditional maths thing, I'll start using that thing, and that thing did the trick. अगर ये IQ test है, तो obviously this is what is expected from me. So everyone clear what I'm making point? एक और क्वेश्चन लगाते हैं. I know it's beyond the time, but let me end it. I am ending it in just 5 minutes. एक right angle triangle है. Let's say I call it ABC. BC and AB and BC are the same. That is, they're equal. So let's say the number is, let's say 5√91x. I usually use x. मुझे पता है कि whenever I'm using x, many of the people start having an algebra thing in their mind, and algebra becomes the moi for everyone. Okay. Now this 5 thing. Now let's say I'm dividing the triangle into 13 parts, equal parts. Let's say these are the parallel lines. I'm using 12 lines in totality. 12 lines मैंने draw करा. Okay, assume that these are 12 lines. Okay, so I divided the whole triangle into 13 parts. Clear? अब क्वेश्चन ये है कि वो 12 लाइंस का आप मुझे समेशन ऑफ लेंथ कर दीजिए, बताइए. आर यू अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन? द क्वेश्चन इज, this is a right angle triangle. Okay, this is a right angle triangle. Let me put it in this way so that you understand. This is a right angle triangle, and AB is equal to BC, which is 5√91x. And we are divided into equal, we have taken parallel 12 lines and divided the whole triangle into 13 parts. And these are equal parts. I mean to say these 12 lines are into equal spacing and have divided the total, if look at the AB, into equal parts. Okay. The question is, I want you to give me the summation of all these 12 lines. Summation of all these 12 lines. So पहली line तो बड़ी clear हो गया कि it will be close to 5√91x. Now traditional maths tricks में जाऊँ, तो इसे traditional maths में जाऊँगा. So what I will do is मैं similarity ratios उसका सारा similarity करके मैं additions करूँगा. Lot of time would be wasted. And what will happen is, maybe मैं इस क्वेश्चन को राइट कर लूँ, लेकिन I will be missing at least 10 questions out. I will be taking the time of at least 5 to 10 questions, in my test. So let's say if I use a simple logic to it, let's say this is a right angle triangle. So can I make it into a rectangle? Sorry, square. And let's say I'm extending all the 12 lines. ठीक है, ये सभी lines हैं. So in that way, what will happen is now is, अगर मैं आपको ये बोलूं कि ये lines, let's say M, N या C, D, ये lines ऐसे मैंने उन्हें extend कर दिया. If I just ask you, what is the summation of, let's say, the full lines, the total lines from the full square lines? Let's say Mn plus CD plus every line. So you will simply say, so it is 12 into 5 root 91x. And as it is in square and it's in diagonal, and I can easily assume that this would be the half of it. So if the summation of all the lines, the 12 lines will just be this. So 6. So the answer is 30 root 91x. So are you understanding what I'm trying to say here? Are you understanding कि आप ऐसा क्यों टेस्ट के बाद बोलते हैं कि टाइम ही नहीं मिलता है? We are not even able to complete the whole test. Sir, out of the 23 questions, I was only able to attempt 10 questions. And many of the times, we are ending up with a situation that, and rather there is a saying among many of the aspirants कि होता ही नहीं है, half ही test करना होता है. You would only have to do only 6 questions correct or 10 questions correct. But that's not the point actually. In an IQ test, whether it is in CUET, you will call it journal test. In GMAT, you may call it quantitative reasoning, or CAT, you may call it quantitative aptitude. So try to understand why they are not calling it maths, why they are not calling it English. Reason being, it's not an English test. It is not a maths test. The test is about your logic, reasoning, and a common sense. Try to use that in every thing. I'm not talking only about the verbal. I'm not only talking about the quant, even the LR, even the DI part, and as GMAT, even the quant, what we call it, GMAT, the quant insights. The point I'm trying to say is, if you know what is expected from you, it would be very easy for you to prepare. It would be very easy for teachers to teach. And it would be very easy for you to attempt the question because you know what is expected from you. The expectation is not to have a mathematician as a manager, or an English PhD as a manager, or a person who is into data analytics. That person should be a manager. Manager needs only one skill set. An entrepreneur needs only one skill set every day. And rather, every CEO needs only one skill set every day, and that is the logic. Using a logic and rationality solve problems. Rather than, and don't even assume that this is a maths test. This is not even an English test, and not even any data analytics test. Okay, चलिए. So keep the perspective clear. Perspective से clarity से आपको क्या फायदा होगा कि आपको अपना time reading skills के लिए नहीं करना होगा. Many of the videos I see, many of the teachers I've seen teaching the reading skills, the fast reading and everything. You are not expected to read fast. And even many of the people would be teaching you vocabulary and everything in English. You are not expected to know the vocabulary. An IQ test will always have a contextual meaning. IQ test never expect you to be an English professor or a mathematician or a good mathematics person or a good English person. Once I'm ending this class in one very simple point. They're using maths and English as a language. And the reason is it's a most universal language. That's why they're using it. So please don't think that it's a math test, and don't even think it's an English test. It's the test of your IQ brain. Bye-bye. See you.